What if I told you that everything we've seen in Euphoria Season 3 has been leading to this one episode? Episode 7 doesn't just move the story forward, it completely breaks every character emotionally. This episode is darker, more intense, and more emotional than anything we've seen this season. Rue is falling apart, Nate is becoming more dangerous than ever, Cassie finally realizes the truth about her life, and Jules is forced to make a heartbreaking decision that could change everything forever. And trust me, the ending of this episode is absolutely insane. So today we're breaking down the entire episode scene by scene, explaining all the hidden meanings, emotional moments, character decisions, and what it all means going into the season finale. And obviously, spoilers ahead. The episode opens with heavy rain pouring across the city while Rue narrates in the background. She says people think rock bottom is a place, but the truth is that rock bottom is a version of yourself. It's the person you become when you stop believing tomorrow matters. Right away, the episode feels emotionally cold and hopeless. Rue is hiding in a small motel bathroom. Her hands are shaking while she cleans blood off her arm. The blue lighting in the scene makes everything feel lifeless, almost like Rue is emotionally disconnected from reality. Then her phone starts ringing over and over again from an unknown number. At first she ignores it, but eventually she answers. It's Ali. This is a huge moment because Ali has barely appeared this season, but every time Rue completely loses herself, Ali somehow returns to force her to confront reality. Ali asks Rue one simple question: "Are you tired yet?" And Rue instantly starts crying. Zendaya absolutely destroys the scene. There's almost no music playing, just Rue trying to breathe while holding back years of pain. Ali tells her that running away doesn't erase consequences. He says every version of Rue still exists inside her: addict Rue, angry Rue, scared Rue, little kid Rue. Then he tells her something that perfectly summarizes her entire storyline this season: "You keep surviving things you don't believe you deserve to survive." That line hits hard because Rue genuinely believes she deserves pain. After the opening sequence, we cut to Nate and Cassie. And honestly, their scenes in this episode are terrifying. Cassie wakes up alone inside their huge house. She walks downstairs and finds broken glass everywhere. Furniture has been smashed. Nate is sitting at the kitchen counter drinking whiskey early in the morning. Without even looking at her, Nate asks if she regrets marrying him. The tension in this scene is insane because Cassie clearly wants to say yes, but she's scared of him. Throughout Euphoria, Cassie has always attached herself to toxic relationships because she believes love gives her value. But now she's finally realizing Nate was never her dream. He became her prison. Cassie tells Nate they can still fix things, but Nate starts laughing. Then he says, "You still think this is a love story?" That line completely destroys Cassie emotionally because it shatters the fantasy version of their relationship she created in her head. Nate reveals dangerous people are looking for him, and he blames Cassie for pretending their life is normal. Cassie asks him what happened to him, and Nate responds with one of the coldest lines in the episode: "I became my father." This is one of the most important moments in Nate's entire character arc. Since season 1, Nate hated his father and feared becoming him. But now he finally admits the truth. He's turning into Cal. Cassie starts crying and says she's scared. Nate quietly replies, "Good." That single word changes the entire atmosphere of the scene. Next we cut to Jules, who honestly has one of the saddest storylines in the episode. She's trying to focus on her art school project, but emotionally she's destroyed after hearing about Rue. Lexi calls Jules and asks to meet her. Their conversation becomes incredibly important because both characters are struggling with guilt. Lexi tells Jules that Rue is getting worse and may not survive much longer if nobody helps her. Jules looks devastated. Then Lexi asks her a brutal question: "If she dies, are you going to spend the rest of your life wondering if you could have stopped it?" This completely breaks Jules emotionally because she's spent the entire season trying to escape Rue's chaos. And honestly, Jules isn't responsible for saving Rue. That's what makes this situation so painful. Loving an addict doesn't mean sacrificing your own sanity. But the episode forces Jules into an impossible decision: protect herself or go back into Rue's darkness. Meanwhile, Maddie attends a Hollywood party filled with celebrities, influencers, and rich executives. But the entire scene feels fake and empty. Everyone is pretending to be happy. A producer offers Maddie a business deal involving social media branding and adult content partnerships. At first it sounds glamorous, but Maddie quickly realizes how exploitative it really is. For the first time in the series, Maddie seems exhausted by attention instead of empowered by it. She leaves the party early and cries alone in her car. This scene quietly shows that adulthood isn't freedom. It's just another performance. The emotional core of the episode happens when Rue finally meets Ali at a diner during a storm. The scene lasts nearly 10 minutes with almost no cuts. Ali tells Rue that addiction teaches people how to survive emotionally without actually living. Rue asks him if people like her really change. Ali pauses for a long time before answering. Sometimes that answer is heartbreaking because it's honest. Ali doesn't give her fake hope. Recovery is painful, humiliating, and endless. Rue then asks the question that defines the episode. What if I'm too far gone? Ali tells her guilt can become addictive too. Some people keep destroying themselves because punishment feels easier than forgiveness. Then he says something incredibly powerful. You don't get to decide your life has no value just because you hate yourself. For the first time all season, Rue actually listens. But suddenly everything changes. Outside the diner, Rue notices a black SUV parked across the street. Laurie's people found her. The tension becomes unbearable. Rue starts panicking while Ali realizes what's happening. He quietly tells Rue to leave through the back, but Rue refuses because she knows they'll follow her. Then Ali walks outside himself. We never fully hear the conversation, but we see Ali standing in the rain speaking to two men before one of them shoves him aggressively. The screen cuts to black. When the scene returns, Rue is running through the streets terrified. We never find out exactly what happened to Ali, and that uncertainty makes the scene even scarier. Later in the episode, Nate visits Cal in prison. This scene has been building for years. Nate accuses Cal of ruining his life, but Cal laughs and says Nate ruined himself. Then Cal says something devastating. You were never angry at me for what I did. You were angry because you understood me. That line completely shakes Nate because deep down he knows it's true. Cal tells Nate that men like them destroy everything they touch because they confuse control with love. Then he delivers the most chilling line of the episode. You're finally becoming honest. After leaving prison, Nate calls someone and says he's ready to make a deal. We don't know what deal he's talking about, but it clearly involves dangerous people and betrayal. Back at the motel, Rue finally breaks emotionally and almost relapses. She sits alone crying while repeating, I can't do this. The scene feels like a nightmare. Sounds distort, lights flicker, and Rue imagines a younger version of herself silently watching from the corner of the room. Then something shocking happens. Rue stops. Instead of relapsing, she throws everything into the sink. This becomes one of the biggest turning points in the entire series because Rue finally makes a choice to survive. Not because she's healed, not because everything is fixed, but because for the first time she doesn't want to disappear. Later, Jules finally finds Rue sitting outside an abandoned church. For several seconds, neither of them speaks. Then Rue quietly says, You shouldn't be here. Jules responds, I know. Their conversation is heartbreaking because it strips away all the drama and reveals to people who genuinely love each other but don't know how to stop hurting each other. Rue apologizes for everything. Jules cries and admits she spent years trying to save someone who didn't want saving. Then Jules asks Rue one final question. Do you want help? And Rue finally says yes. That single word feels more powerful than any dramatic moment in the episode. But the hope doesn't last long. As Rue and Jules walk away together, a car slowly follows them from a distance. Laurie's people are still watching. The episode ends with Nate arriving at an unfinished construction site carrying a duffel bag full of cash. Several armed men are waiting for him. One of them asks if Nate brought the money. Nate says not all of it. The men immediately become aggressive, but then Nate offers them something else instead. Someone more valuable. Before we learn who he's talking about, the screen cuts to black. And that's how episode 7 ends. This episode is really about one thing: survival. Rue is finally realizing survival isn't about becoming perfect. It's about choosing to stay alive one more day. Nate fully embraces becoming the monster he always feared. Cassie finally sees the truth about her relationship. Jules realizes loving Rue means risking heartbreak forever. And going into the finale, it feels like absolutely nobody is safe anymore.